And welcome back to more of your regularly unscheduled programming here on Splash Page. I'm Andrew. Today we're going to talk about episode 4 of season 4 of The Boys. So let's just jump right into it. What do you say? Alright, we're going to start out with the Homelander storyline because that is kind of the big thing this episode. It's like the big B story, right? It's the main story, but it doesn't move anything forward. Homelander is obsessed with the fact that he needs love and he wants to get rid of that obsession, so he goes back to the start. He goes back to the place where he was brought up and kept captive and spends the episode torturing and killing his colleagues slash bullies slash captors until he's finally put in place by a mother figure. I'm going to call her Debbie because I think that's what they called her. I'm not 100% sure. Who lets him know that he's being a big baby, that they never really had any real power over him. They couldn't have kept him there if they wanted to, except for the fact that they inbred a need for love and affection in Homelander, which, great, it's an interesting story beat, but it feels kind of sloppy, kind of lazy almost. Like they could have just said that is a human emotion, that he couldn't get around it because he had that human emotion of a need for love and affection, instead of we created underground CIA lab-tested psychology expert to inbred love and affection into you. Why wouldn't they be doing this to everyone on the planet then? And I mean, it's just, psychology is hard enough as it is. To say you have a magic bullet to force people to have feelings from birth, but that's the story. This is what I can't believe, but I'm still willing to believe superheroes and all that stuff. But it struck me a little rough. So there's Homelander's entire story in a nutshell. If that's all you came here for, thanks. See you next time. But I'm going to stick around and run through the rest of the episode. I hope you do too. We'll talk about Hughie and his issues with his dad, which turn into issues with his mom, which this episode turned into issues with A-Train and Compound V and Kimiko, actually. He has this idea. He wants to get some real Compound V, give it to his dad, save him from his coma, give him some superpowers. Sounds like a crazy plan, but also sounds like it could work, right? So he takes Kimiko as backup. He calls up A-Train. He says, listen, you and me, you get me some Compound V and we're totally good. A-Train is like, really? Fine. It's going to be tough, but I'll go steal some from Homelander, who's got it under lock and key. So he goes and steals it, but keep in mind that Homelander has a tight control over that, so we'll see where that goes in future episodes if and when he notices. If he doesn't notice, why did they bring it up? So he's gonna probably... The visual of the Compound V in Homelander's little chest there, it looked like it was in that order for a reason. Like he's gonna know it was gone, like it spelt a word or something. I couldn't tell you what it said, but maybe by the time I post this, I'll have figured it out. If you know it, pop it down there in the comments if there's some kind of secret pattern to that you could see. But after A-Train leaves, the shining light pops up. They've been tailing Kimiko, and Kimiko and Hughie have to fight the shining light. Hughie fights them in some homemade armor that Kimiko straps to him, and Hughie has his first real kill. Yes, he killed Translucent in the very first episode, and he's had a hand in killing another of other soups, and he's watched people die. He's never actually killed someone hand-to-hand without superpowers. This is the first time he's been able to do that. That's going to probably weigh on him. Once A-Train finally does get him the V, A-Train calls him out. He's like, you weren't really going to forgive me. And Hughie kind of grows for a moment as a person and says, you know what, dude? You're right. I wasn't going to forgive you, but I don't want to have that over my head anymore. I forgive you. We're good. Which is kind of cool, except that Butcher's been trailing him, and he's like, what the hell, dude? Butcher gives him some interesting information. He says, I tried the Compound V because I was dying from temporary V, and it only made things worse. But did it? We'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's finish up with Hughie's story, because he makes it to the hospital. He decides against giving his dad the Compound V, probably based on Butcher's advice. And then his dad wakes up anyway. Rewatch that scene, his mother didn't look that surprised. I'm guessing the mom gave him some Compound V. The mom had Hughie's idea, or some temporary V. Who knows? There's no way he just came back in that moment in that way. I think the mother had something to do with it. But We'll move on from there to Annie. Annie's storyline, she wanders into President-elect Singer's office. Is he President-elect yet? I think he is. President-elect Singer's office. I keep wanting to call him Brian Singer because of the director, Robert Singer. She walks into his office and says, listen, you need to pass this soup control bill. I can help you do it as Starlight. All you need to do is make sure you continue doing what you're doing and really hammer Vought into the ground. Just kill them all, nail them down, be done with it. And she screws that up royally because of Sage's grand plan. Sister Sage, the smartest person on the planet, has this incredible plan where she hands Firecracker information about Annie's abortion and then sits back and waits for a lobotomy. It's a brilliant plan. Let's see how it rolls out in action. Firecracker has been given her own Vought television network, I guess, to just talk about Starlight Annie for hours upon hours on end. She has people in there doing weird math where they're counting numbers of letters and names and numbers of letters and words and adding them up to 666 over and over again, you know, as you do. When Butcher and MM try to blackmail her with some statutory rape charges, which she then big times them and blackmails herself with those statutory rape charges, and then jumps on television and tells the world, listen, I did a thing, I feel bad about it, but guess what? Starlight, she blinded someone during her first save, and she had an abortion. And that really infuriates Annie, who flies down to the station and beats the crap out of her on camera, which ruins the soup control bill for President-elect Singer, and makes Sage kind of happy that Firecracker got her face punched in. So the plan worked out pretty damn well, except for Butcher got a set of keys to Firecracker's trailer, handed them over to Frenchie, and while he was snooping around in there, that stretchy-armed pastor, whose name I don't remember, found him and was basically just beating the crap out of him. He was going to kill him. So Butcher bursts in and pops his head, pops his whole body. Does Butcher just have powers now? So when he told Hughie that he took the compound V and it only sped things up and made things worse, it's possible that it sped things up and made things worse, but also gave him powers. And it seems like he has new powers from the last time he took temporary V, because now he's got that head popping ability. But looks like Butcher's not only dying, but has all of the superpowers. So after Frenchie narrowly survives the pastor's attack, he meets up with his boyfriend Colin and admits to him that he killed Colin's whole family, which, to put it lightly, upset Colin, who starts beating the crap out of Frenchie, choking him out, and Frenchie gasps, "Do it, kill me," and that's when he stops. Every time these people, and I don't think they're saying it to get them to stop, but every time they give permission to kill them, that's when they're let go. And this goes back over and over again with Lamplighter, when I think it was Mallory, someone wanted to kill Lamplighter, and Frenchie said, don't kill him, that's what he wants, then now he has to live with it. And when Frenchie finally admitted to getting Mallory's kids killed, why he did it, to save his friend from an OD, and the whole team said, why didn't you tell us, man, we would have forgiven you. He's like, do you think I wanted to be forgiven? Like, maybe I don't deserve to be forgiven. And we close up this video, at least, with the Deep, who's been sitting around doing nothing, and then eventually trails down Sage, and she gets him to do a frontal lobotomy on him. She gets him to stick a pointy thingamajig in her eyeball and scrape out some of her ever-growing brain so she could be stupid for a couple hours and have some sex. So it turns out last week she wasn't depressed. Well, she was depressed, but she was depressed because she got a lobotomy. She was just kind of relaxing, and that's how she kind of veges out. Some of us drink alcohol, do drugs, that kind of thing, go partying, go to the gym. You have your things that really let you relax. Her thing is a frontal lobotomy because her brain never stops growing. And then her and the Deep kind of camera pan away, and they do what they do. Light week for Deep. But Sage's plan worked out perfectly for her, and Homelander murdered everyone who ever brought him up, except for that one woman who, I can't imagine she's going to go after him too hard. She's, look at that room, man. Look at that room. I can't put it in, too much blood, but look at that room. Anyway, this has been our review here at Splash Page of episode 4, season 4 of The Boys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you stuck around. Hope you subscribe to the channel. Put some comments down there. I'd love to chat. And we'll see you next time. I'm Andrew. Later.